Today I want to talk to you guys about making normalized type curves using PHDWin software. And it's really easy to do. And the first step I take is I usually use drilling info. Here's a drilling info map. And I've selected some Eagleford wells in Gonzales and Karnes County, mostly operated by EOG Resources. So that's kind of my study area right here on the map. And I download the production data using drilling info from these wells. And I load them into PHDWin software. It's really easy to do. So let's see how that works out. All right, so I've got the wells in PHDWin. Here's some graphs. Here's my case list. Here's some different wells. So basically we have about 203 wells. And this is allocated data. Drilling info allocates it between the different wells on the lease. So you got to understand that. All right, so what we want to do today is we want to make a type curve of the wells in this area that came on in 2017 and 2018 because we wanted to see how those wells are going to perform. So we go to File, Import Data, or Create New Cases. We're going to do a single case, and we're going to use a normalized curve. So what we do is we go ahead and label it 2017, 2018 Eagleford. You got to spell it right. And you can put in the state and the county if you know it. Okay, we want to use oil well. All right, so we create the case. Next step is to press finish. And then we're going to have some options on this next screen. Some options here. We always use into production because we're not going to use any projected data. So anyway, the next step is to do your case selection. So you go over here to this case list that I've sorted by beginning production date. And I've also added the operator. Right here I have the operator and the reservoir name. So it's real easy to make sort orders, very powerful. Okay, so we want to analyze the wells drilled in 2017. There's the first one. Through 2018. See how these guys look. All right, so you shift enter. Now you've highlighted 136 wells of the 200 wells that we've downloaded from Drilling Info. So you just drag them in here, and you go ahead and press create and compile. All right, so now we have a normalized curve. What this graph is PHDWin just takes all the wells and normalizes them to time 0 and then averages them up. Okay, so what we do is we want to add a few more years. We double click into the graph. We get access, and we go ahead and add a few more years to the graph. And then we also want to add the well count. It's very important that we add the well count. We have all gas and water. We don't really need to worry about the water right now, so we put none on there. All right, so now we got a new graph. We can move the well count down out of the way a little bit. Also going to double click here, and I'm just going to change this to a 4-cycle graph. Okay, so here's our graph. We're going to move the well count down. We're going to move the gas down. So we got gas in red, oil in green, and the well count in this magenta color. All right, so we're going to have an ARPS button, ARPS menu here. We're going to go ahead and click on the green numbers. That gives us the oil. We're going to go ahead and insert a segment for the oil. All right, so we're going to go ahead and fit the data to the curve. And as you can see right here, the data is starting to get a little unclear there. All right, so the way we do this is we look at the well count. We'll go back here to the monthly history tab, and PHDWin always does the normalized curves using 1901 as the first year. That's how it does it. But anyway, you go back to the first year and you notice there's 136 wells in the sample. But as the shorter life wells drop off, the sample declines. So the rule is you only use the data when at least half the wells are still on production. So you have 136, so that'd be maybe half of that would be around 70. So you can click the years until you get to about 70. All right, so by October of 02, you're down to 70. So you want to clip the data at that month. So you go to the end date, and you type in 10-31-1902. Press OK, and PHDWin's going to warn you that you're getting ready to clip some of the data. So let's go ahead and do that. Watch how the graph changes when I press yes. All right. So now this graph is just the representative type curve of the sample. All right, so we go ahead and put our oil curve on there. And because they have a peak in the second month, because not all the wells come on at the beginning of the month, so the average for the first month is low. So what I like to do is just assume that if all the wells would have came on at the first of the month, the peak would have actually been a little bit higher. So I just estimated a little bit higher right there. And then I put in a B factor, estimated B factor. All right. All right, and so now you're trying to fit the curve. And, it's not really fitting that great. You got to use a little judgment. All right, so do we want to fit there, or do we want to use a lower B factor, maybe a 0.5? And maybe right there is a good fit. Okay, remember you have to put a D minimum. I use 7 right here as a first choice. And you have to put a Q final or economic limit. I'm going to use 2. All right, so now the oil is projected out to 2 barrels a day. And you click on the red for the gas and go ahead and add a gas curve. All right, I like to just clip off the data by putting in a Q final like that. That way I can grab it. And again, I assume that if all the wells would have came in on the first day of the month, they would have had a higher peak. All right, so I'm going to use a little bit higher B factor on that one. Okay, so is that really fitting the data? You can zoom in and look at it a little closer. It's not really fitting that great. I might use a 0.6, maybe change this B to 0.6. Anyway, I'm trying to get the best estimate I can. So I think maybe like that might be a representative curve for the wells. And remember to put the D minimum, I'm using 7 here. And then you press fix endpoint to oil. All right, so there's our fitted normalized type curve for the wells in the Eagle Ford that came on in 2017 and 2018 in this area. All right, so we can go ahead and we can save this, or we can put a few comments by pressing this button, and we can say, okay, the oil IP is 1339 barrels oil per day. The EUR of this curve is up here. Let's see. Oh, it's right at the bottom left, 288. So we can put 288 in barrels, and you hit Control Enter to get a new line, and you can do the gas. But you have to go ahead to get the gas right here. So the gas IP is 1746 MCF per day. The EUR of our curve is down at the bottom right. I have it set up as one of the titles of 561 MMCF. All right. So we made the type curve for oil and gas for these wells in this area. We can save that. And you can adjust it if you want. You make sure these starting points for both oil and gas are the same exact date. And you can save this as a case profile, and then you can apply this to any drilling in the area that you want to model economics on. And you can also add lateral length to all this data if you want, and then you can normalize to net lateral length. But anyway, it's real simple to do. So now we've made type curve for the wells in this area with their initial rate, EUR, and their B factor. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. And that's how you do it. And call me if you have any questions. Thanks.